4:14 in the morning. We're on the hunt for a VFR. It's very rainy right now, so it's not looking good for the VFR. So stay tuned on the hunt for the VFR. It's too damn early. It's gonna rain. I'm gonna get soaked. That's David. David's the man. Bye. So as you saw, we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go by the VFR. As you can tell, we had some energy, but not too much. Here we're passing this really cool suspension bridge getting to St. Petersburg, Florida, where the VFR was located. The bike seemed fine, so I bought it. And then here is on the way back. We forgot to record anything, when we got there, when we were fueling up. I was just excited to, do the 4-hour ride home. The next video right here is when I got home. As you can see, I almost lost my handlebar end. And right before this, the problem started to show. If you saw the last video, the bike was idling like at 3,000 RPMs. Well, on the drive back home, about 30 minutes in, sitting in traffic, the bike wouldn't idle anymore. The bike was cold when I first got there. The bike started right up. Everything seemed perfect. The bike only has 2,000 miles, mind you. So yeah, I would have not expected anything to be wrong with the bike, but the bike just wouldn't hold idle. So when I stopped to fill up, I had to manually kick up the RPMs to 3,000 just so the bike would stay on. But either way, highway was driving perfect. I rode it 4 hours home. As you can see in this video, it's already at my house. Here it's in the backyard. As you can see, it's still idling very rough. It definitely sounds like a misfire. So here I had no idea what was really wrong with the bike. Just the fact that, again, it was only 2,000 miles. The bike started up perfectly, everything was good. But then when I started riding it after I put fuel, I noticed that, obviously it wouldn't idle. So obviously it felt like a fuel issue. So yeah, this is before ordering parts. So now we're gonna get to the nitty gritty. Again, here you can see that when the bike was cold, it would just die even with the RPMs kicked up. So again, it seemed like fueling issues. Coming up, I'm going to show you what actually was wrong with the bike. Again, here it was pretty much a cold start. You would see that it would sputter and everything. It wouldn't stay on. So you can see the bike was, almost up to temperature. It's Florida, so it's not exactly cold. And, it wouldn't hold idle. You can see it's dropping. And again, the idle is supposed to be, Honda manual says 1,200 RPM. Give or take 100, and there it was doing 2,000, and the bike still wouldn't stay on. Also, it would hesitate when you would give it gas, but obviously there's something wrong. So yeah, let me show you guys exactly what it was now. Here real quick, I just wanted to show you that once the bike was up to temperature, 220, which is usually where the fans kick on, it would smoothen the idle a little bit, but you can see it would still drop like a misfire. And again, it was idling 1,000 RPMs, too high pretty much. Now for the fun part, I was gonna start with the fuel filter, but as you can see, the whole sending unit was bad. I pulled one plug and the plug looked good, so I assumed that the plugs didn't really need to be changed just yet. The tank, as you can see, was very rusty inside. I didn't even take a video of the worst part, which was all the chunks that came off the tank. Here, it already had the rust reformer. So you can see the black is where the rust reformer started converting the rust back to metal. So yeah, so here, again, you can just see the metal starting to, de-rust with the solutions. This right here, you can see that the tank was already a lot cleaner. Mind you, it wasn't, free of rust, but this should be good enough to, have fuel in it and not contaminate the fuel. What I was gonna do first was replace the sending unit, and I was gonna leave the old spark plugs, to get all the crud out of the lines and not ruin the new spark plugs. So right here, I didn't replace the spark plugs yet. I put the used sending unit in good condition. I put a new fuel filter, and unfortunately when I tried to start the bike just would not start. I got it to idle maybe once, but the bike wouldn't start. I messed with the idle, messed with a lot of things, and I honestly had no idea what the heck was wrong. For a second I was thinking it was the fuel pressure regulator that was bad, but I bought a used one and replaced that. That didn't help either. If you can see in some of the videos, the bike almost acted like it wanted to turn on, but it was hesitating. So long story short, it turns out that I'll show you guys now, but the one spark plug I pulled that I showed earlier in the video, yeah, that was the only good spark plug. All three other spark plugs were pretty badly fouled. They were really black, and yep, that's what was making, you know, the bike not start. I figured that since I had changed the fuel filter and stuff, that I would be good and that the bike should start, but that was not the case. The bike wouldn't start at all. And you know, before with the bad fuel filter and the bad sending unit, the bike would start. So I was, you know, honestly like grasping at straws because I didn't know what was wrong, and all it was a spark plug. So right now I'll show you guys how that went, changing the spark plugs, and then I'll show you how the bike is running now. Alright guys, we're back on the Vfr. So far I just had a lot of problems. I replaced the fuel pump, I replaced the fuel filter, but the bike still won't start. I was definitely getting fuel. My injectors seem clean because all the patterns are the same on all of them. And yeah, the bike was running before, just had a really bad, you know, like misfire, bad idle. And after I replaced the fuel pump and the fuel filter, it just wouldn't turn on. But a lot of times it's giving me rich symptoms. So my guess is that I fouled the plugs. So the plugs are fouled, and that's why it's not starting up. Because the bike did run for a few times, but again, right now it's just not starting up. So yeah, I was wondering if my bike was a little rich and why it wasn't starting. I think it's a little rich. The only one I pulled was the only clean one. What a fucking joke, bro. All the other ones are shitty. Maybe I should have checked more than one. So of course, as soon as I put on the tank and was ready to start the bike, it started pouring. It's still raining, but I'm too pumped to see if this turns on. So, new spark plugs, new fuel pump, new fuel filter. Let's see.